Hi, I'm Jamie Baker with the Courier Sports Staff. I'm here with Dave Hanneman, and I'll be with Ted Radick later on. We're talking about Week 13 of the high school football season. And then there were three, Dave. Three teams left: Ada, Ottawa Glandorf, and Patrick Henry. Tell me a little bit about OG's game. You watched their game last week. What do they have in store for this week?
Well, a lot of people walked away from last week's game. They were stunned because they thought it'd be a close battle, Eastwood and Ottawa Glandorf. Ottawa Glandorf just manhandled them physically on the offensive and defensive lines. And like you and I talked earlier, the thing that impressed me was OG has good defense. When they hit people, they didn't move. I mean, when they hit people, they put them boom flat on the ground. That's good defense, good technique, good fundamentals, and hard hitting. And that took a lot of the sting out of them. The other thing was Ottawa Glandorf put a new wrinkle in their offense last week, the pitch option. And I've said for some time now, I thought the key to their season this year was the maturity of Nathan Colley, their junior quarterback. And he played a phenomenal game. He made the perfect decision at the right time on whether to pitch it, to keep it. The times he kept it, he ran for 4 touchdowns. One was 20 yards, all the others were over 40 yards. And the times he pitched it, went for big games and a touchdown there. So if they get that going with what they've been doing all year long, they're going to be very tough for Orville to handle.
Yeah, they'll have a tough test this week with Orville. They'll be back at Tiffin. Right. Saturday night game at Frost Kellnell Stadium. Orville plays in a bigger conference. They play with Ashland, Mansfield Senior. This should be a big challenge for Ottawa Glandorf. And Ottawa Glandorf hasn't been past the regional finals, have they?
No, they've got 2 of the regional finals, never passed it. This is they're matching what they did last year, getting as far as they have in the playoffs. You talk about Orville and the conference they're in, a smaller school against bigger competition, and when you talk the Mansfield schools, you're talking good athletes, good speed. Clear Fork still in the playoffs, I think, or was in the playoffs, and Ashland. And there's 2 players down there that Orville has faced, Courtney Avery and I can't think of the other kid from Lexington, I think, but they're top-notch Division I players. So anything Ottawa can throw at them, Orville's already seen. They've seen some great players.
Yeah, the other game Saturday night will feature Delphos St. John's and Ada, rematch of last year's regional finals, and it'll be at Donnell Stadium. So that should be a good one. Ada's coming off a big win over Cary last week, 14-7. Their defense really stepped up, and they're playing pretty good football right now.
Well, I was surprised how many yards Cary got against Ada's defense. We knew Ada wasn't as big as Cary, but for them to have success pounding it, and Delphos St. John's is a team that likes to pound the football.
Yeah, the problem was, Ada's defense stepped up every time they had to. They bent, they didn't break, they caused 3 turnovers. Their kids were ball hawks, they were stripping the ball. They really looked good on defense. Kind of concerned me a little bit, though, for the first time this season, kind of Cary bottled up Heath Jackson and kind of kept the offense in check.
I'm sure the St. John's coaches were poring over that film for anything they could find. How do you stop Heath Jackson? If they could find any tidbit, they're going to use it.
Sure. All right, we'll be joined with Ted Radick here in just a minute. We'll talk a little bit about Patrick Henry's game with Tenora. Oh, hello there, Ted.
Oh, hey, Jamie. How's it going?
All right, this is Ted Radick. He's our new sports writer at the Courier. He's not exactly new, but he's replacing Mark Hyman, if anybody can replace Mark Hyman.
Right, big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill. All right, Ted, tell me a little bit about Patrick Henry. You've been, with them on their tournament run. How's things look for him right now?
Well, they've just been blowing people out, Jamie. I mean, they crushed Northwood. They beat Hillsdale handily. They have allowed some points in the 4th quarter with, the sophomores and reserves in.
Okay.
But they've looked very impressive.
Now, I imagine this will probably be their biggest test of the postseason so far, big time.
Well, Tenora beat a pretty good Lima Central Catholic team. I think a lot of us around here thought that maybe LCC would win that game. But this is Tenora's first time to a regional final.
What's the biggest strength for Patrick Henry? What are they doing real well right now?
Well, running the ball, obviously. Banger's run for more than 1,700 yards. Luke George has run for more than 1,000, but he can throw too. And they put a new wrinkle in as well, where they're putting Luke George out as a wide receiver and bringing in another quarterback. Casey Spence has thrown the ball real well as well.
There is a little bit of controversy in this game. This is the only game in Ohio this week on grass. And Coach Inselman's not real happy about it.
No, he's not. And he made the point that games at this level should be on turf. I think all of us are expecting Patrick Henry to have a quickness advantage over Tenora, and playing on grass might take some of that away. On Tenora's side, Defiance doesn't have a very big visitors sideline, and their fan base might be split in two, with some of their fans having to sit on the home field side, so they're not really too pleased either.
That game will be Friday night at Defiance's Fred Brown Stadium. That'll wrap up our Week 13 look at the high school football season. Make sure you pick up a copy of the Courier this week. We'll have previews on all the games. Ted will have a feature on the only game on grass at Defiance this weekend, and we'll have all the coverage of all the games this week at the Courier and at thecourier.com.